Okay, we're recording this video on Saturday, the 30th of July, 2022. It's just gone 7:37 p.m. Chicago time. Do hope you are doing well. So this is our weekend futures market recap video, where I go through 15 of the largest futures markets and I show you what I'm looking at on my charts. It seems to be going down really well, getting lots of comments and likes and views. So thank you to everybody for that. So, quick recap of where we left us off last weekend on the 24th of July. There were 3 points kind of as I finished up that video last time. The first one is I thought we'd see a little bit of weakness early on in the week in the E-mini, but then the E-mini would rally because the longer term charts are showing that we've kind of broken out. The second point was that the euro was looking to break 103. And that was an important level, and were we going to get the break last week? That was kind of the question. And the third thing was the ags have been super sold off pretty hard over the last couple of weeks, and so were we going to get finally kind of exhaustion in that downward move and a rally kind of playing off that. Let's deal first of all with the E-mini, and I've been looking at these kind of long-term charts and telling you that we're breaking into uptrends. We caught the low with the big things happen at triple signal, and this is the daily chart using the old setup of the indicators, where we got the volume indicators on the left hand side, better momentum down here, better pro-am on the price bars themselves with professional and amateur activity. Right hand side is better sine wave calculating our cycles and trends, and this was the big things happen at triple signal down here, and I put out a video this week saying that we'd had a confirmation break above resistance into an uptrend, so that was all kind of good. Now, so on the long-term chart, we are in an uptrend and we are looking to go higher, and where this is going to run into trouble is when we find resistance on the intermediate time frame. So we are long term kind of running out this higher time frame, pull back to end of trend. So the thick lines, we're looking for that. I've been saying that repeatedly, video after video, but at some point we'll find resistance, and it's when we get an overshoot of resistance on the lowest time frame that is caught by resistance on the highest time frame, and that will be when these two lines kind of cross together. So at some point that will be kind of when this kind of runs out of juice. We could have a little bit of kind of toing and froing this week, but that's what I'll be looking for kind of playing out sometime this week, and that'll signal that we're going to have a little bit of a test back down. If you back it down to the 15-minute charts, you can see here's another kind of classic triple. I mean, this is a really nice signal. This is a BT hat signal. Big things happen at triples. We either break out into big trends, or we break down and kind of these resistance lines become areas of resistance, and we move away from the lines and kind of trade back down. But at this point here, we've broken into an uptrend, and with the triple there, what I'm looking for on this chart is pullback to end of trends, and they've got to ripple through the time frames. They've got to go through the lowest, the intermediate, and probably the highest time frame, because we've broken so far above those lines. So we're in a strong uptrend, and on the 15-minute chart, that's what I'll be looking for. So let's see, this week if we kind of play out to that. But big picture, that's what's kind of concerning me with the E-mini. We're still in this uptrend, and it won't end until we see those things starting to come together. So this was the tick bar chart, 13,000 tick bar chart with the system signals here, and this was the end of last week into the beginning of this week, and this was the weakness that we saw. Exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, we had overbought, blue professional bars, the lows of that got broken, bang, we got a triple signal, we got another one here, and it wasn't until midweek where we kind of caught down here, blue professional bars kind of stepped in. There we go, bang, and we started the rally back up. Now, it would have been a signal if we had had exhaustion sell and bullish divergence, kind of the mirror of these, exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, and then we've oversold, we have blue professional bars, bang, we break into an uptrend. So we didn't get a nice little signal there because we didn't have that kind of exhaustion selling. It was just kind of a weak move down, and then we broke back up into an uptrend. So the trend is still up on the E-mini, although we will have back and forth moves and so on. But I'll be looking for those end of trend on those 15-minute charts before this is all over on the upside and we have some weakness. So there we go. That's the E-mini. We said it would be weak and then it would rally, and I think that's what happened. We're going to continue to rally this week until we see those end of trends. Now, for me, one of the most important markets that I'm looking at the moment is the euro. I think this week we are going to finally get that break into an uptrend above 103. I'll show you the tip bar chart just quickly here. We've been doing nothing kind of all week, just backwards and forwards between 1.5 and two and a bit, almost 3. But we've had a signal a couple of days ago here. We had exhaustion sell, blue professional bars were oversold. As soon as we get the bullish divergence here, the signal kind of comes in. We come back down, bounce off that support level, and we're just itching to get above 3. And what I'm really interested in is this will take us into a strong uptrend move that'll pull all the other forex kind of contracts with it. And why I'm kind of pretty bullish about this is not only have we had the signal on the tip bar chart, we are also starting to see it on daily charts. Now on daily charts, what I'm using is a 460 minute, so there are exactly 3 460 minute bars in a day session of the forex markets. If you look at some of these charts here on these daily setup, we got a 460 minute for all the forex contracts and the 10-year. The E-mini use a 135 minute chart. There are 3 135 minute bars in a day session of the E-mini. Then we're using 460 minutes, 480 minutes for Bitcoin, 460, 460, 460. Corn 367 because they're only it's a shorter trading day for corn. Same with soybeans 367 and wheat 367. But using those kind of setups, we got 3 bars per day, and that allows us to kind of look in a little bit more detail on a daily chart, and this is what it's got me interested here. So we've got on a daily chart starting to set up exhaustion sell, bullish divergence. We're oversold on better sine wave here with the background in red. The blue professional bars have come in at the lows after we just momentarily kind of touched parity on the euro, and we've broken above the trailing stop. So we've had our signals kind of come in here. We've also had a sign of strength as we bounced off there, and we're having little stair-step trades here. Friday's activity is a blue professional bar. They were pretty keen. It's breaking up above this kind of congestion zone at 103. That is really important, and the euro's been destroyed over the last year or so, from 124 down to parity, and we could easily have something like a 3 cent move from 3 to 6. I mean, that would be huge, but take us back into the last area where we had a little bit of trouble and we kind of sold it down. So on the daily kind of time frames, the euro is looking strong, and on the tick bar charts we have had a signal a couple of days ago, and we're just itching to break out. Not many blue professional bars after we had that sell-off. The professionals step in and hold it there at 1.6, and then bang, we're coming back up. So that's what I'm looking for with a break kind of this week, probably possibly early this week, and we'll see where that goes. If that goes, that's going to drag along all the other kind of forex contracts. So the British pound, talked about this, been strong since the Boris Johnson kind of resignation. We had a couple of signals at the end of last week and into the beginning of this week, bang, bang, bang. So we're still kind of trailing up on those. Aussie dollar, I think Aussie dollar is a little bit more confused here. You look at the backwards and forwards and so on. So I'm not particularly keen at looking on this chart, but it'll break higher if the euro kind of breaks out, because they'll all kind of follow along. And then Japanese yen, same thing. We had a beautiful little signal. What is that? Beginning of this week. Blue professional bars step in here after exhaustion, sell and bullish divergence. It's oversold, bang. And we've had a nice little move up in the Japanese yen. So for me this week, continuation of the E-mini kind of long trade, and then looking for that breakout for the euro above 103. I'm holding a long position on the euro, and I'm looking to add to that if we get that kind of strength in it. So that's pretty important. Treasuries. We have been strong on the treasuries. That was a couple of weeks ago. We started to have signals. Here we're breaking into an uptrend and so on. Possibly a little bit of weakness here because we've had exhaustion buy, bearish divergence. We're overbought at this point. A whole bunch of blue professional bars kind of come in here. So it's possible that we've kind of just reached a temporary kind of resting place, and we're going to come back down and see. But that's an option on the 10 years. Bang, bang, bang. Talked about those. Now, gold. Gold, we've had a super big rally here after the signals at the end of last week or mid last week, and it's continued to rally and rally. Not a whole bunch of blue professional bars at the highs. We've had exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, and an overbought. But because those no blue professional bars like to mirror this, I mean, this is a classic. As we push down to 1700, all the professionals kind of come in, exhaustion, sell, bullish divergence, bang, beautiful signal. but we've not got anything like that. I think gold's going to go higher, and it'll drag silver along with it. Silver, we didn't have those nice kind of signals because we never had exhaustion sell on the downside, but gold's been dragging silver with it from 18.5 up to almost 20.5. And again, looking at these kind of daily charts, you can see we're starting to see signals on gold. So there we go. Exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, blue professional bars come in, and we're oversold. So that's the three non-correlated indicators: price, volume, and average trade size. Bang, they come in, hold it 1700. Again, probably, I don't know what the absolute number on that low was. Oh, it actually cracked 1700, but psychologically, 1700. Big round number isn't important. So we've had a signal there on the daily chart. So looking for continued strength in the dollar, in gold, and silver will be dragged along with that. And also on Bitcoin, potentially, we've got that kind of going on. So on the daily chart on Bitcoin, we're setting up for a signal. We've had our exhaustion sell and bullish divergence with Friday's activity. We're oversold on better sine wave, and some blue professional bars kind of came in here. They came in here on the retrace, and we've kind of picked it up. So we break above this 24.2-3 level here, close above that. That'll give us a signal on Bitcoin on the daily chart. And on the tick bar chart, we've got a little bit of weakness actually. So we might have to back it off a little bit before coming back up through 24. Psychologically, getting up through 24-25 will be super important. A lot of people kind of calling for the end of the crypto winter. I don't think that's necessarily true on the daily charts, but that's a story for another day. But we did have a nice, we've had some nice signals in Bitcoin over the last week. So this is the end of last week. We had weakness because we'd had exhaustion by bearish divergence and flush patterns up into these highs. We were overbought. We cracked blue professional bars, the trailing stop, and we had a nice kind of signal down. And then we came back up, and this is what I liked for an exhaustion pattern. That's a last roll of the dice where we kind of push it up, we exhaust the buying volume, the professionals step in there, we get a stair step down, bang, beautiful little pattern now. And then that bottomed out with exhaustion sold, bullish divergence, oversold, blue professional bars, another one, little blue professional bar, kind of step in here, we get our signal, bang, and we've kind of rallied. But now we're on the other side. This is big tradable ranges on Bitcoin. We're talking about $3,000 moves on Bitcoin, which is super tradable, 10+% moves. So we've got exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, blue professional bars, we're overbought, and we've had a signal here. So we could easily have a little bit of weakness in Bitcoin, but just bear in mind that that kind of longer term chart is itching to break out through 24 and a bit, and that's a possible kind of signal that we'll get sometime this week. So that's Bitcoin on the tick bar charts. Ags, we did get our kind of breakout from exhaustion. The signals weren't super great, but on corn this week, we kind of end of last week we were coming down. We were super oversold. We had exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, flush pattern down here. There's our oversold again on better sine wave, and then kind of mid this week, a whole bunch of blue professional bars kind of step in here, bang, and that gave us our signal on corn. So corn was weak, was strong. Soybeans went crazy this week. So cracking rally, unfortunately no signal, and that's because we didn't actually get oversold. We'd had a signal earlier on the week earlier with oversold there with a background in red, but we never got a background in red on this pushback down. So pity about that on soybeans. We didn't get a signal there. Wheat, kind of similar thing. We got these kind of oversold the week prior, but this activity after we'd had exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, we never went down and went oversold on better sine wave there. So that unfortunately didn't kind of signal there. Natural gas. Now natural gas, we had a blow off move above 900, kind of went a bit exponential. But for me, there's no blue professional bars at the highs there. We've come back down to blue professional bars, kind of flush patterns down here. If we get oversold, so if the background turns red, that's potentially an area that we could kind of pick it up at 850 for a test above kind of 9 again in order to see those blue professional bars. So that's a possible on natural gas. Crude, we're kind of just going backwards and forwards. No blue professional bars at the highs when we hit 102. The last signal was a long signal here. So again, let's see if we consolidate under 102 and break back up above 102. That's a possible there. And then lastly, copper. Copper is really interesting. We had a really strong move at the latter part of this week in copper. And again, going to the daily charts, copper is signaled here. So we had all these weak kind of signals here where we had spikes up into $5, blue professional bars into those highs, overbought. We broke the blue professional bars and signals down. We had some really nice kind of moves down in copper. So that's the weakness there. But you can see here at these lows, we've had a huge amount of professional activity kind of coming in the threes. Here, exhaustion, sell, bullish divergence, and a flush pattern. It's oversold, and we've cracked above, what is that, 350 as an important psychological level. And on copper here, I know it's showing these kind of signals go short, but we kept on cracking up, and all these blue professional bars on copper just are driving us higher and higher. And it could be kind of a longer term move that we've just set up here on this daily chart. So that's kind of my thoughts. For me, the most interesting move is going to be euro. If it gets above 103, that could go really hard and fast. E-mini continuation of the rally with some kind of backwards and forwards until we get those end of trend patterns. And then we're going to, I think the gold and silver trade will kind of keep going, and potentially copper is going to break into something quite interesting. And Bitcoin, let's see if weakness at the beginning of the week kind of leads to some kind of area of support where the professionals coming on Bitcoin, and then we continue to rally through 24.5 into 25s. So there we go, quite a few charts there, both tip bar charts and daily charts, but I think it's quite important because we've had definitely a change in mood in the last 10 days, and we're setting up for those kind of bigger trend moves on those daily charts, and getting on top of one of those big trending moves would be really nice. So let's see if it's the euro that's going to do it for me, and I hope your trading is going well. I'm looking forward to next week.